This guy is insane. Beard Meets Food, if you haven't heard of him, is an inspiration to people like me with an endless appetite. Look at him go. Dude is straight up like my spirit animal. Not only an inspiration to people like me, but a perfect example of thermodynamics in action. Seeing that he posts once or twice a week videos of him gorging on an endless supply of edible material, we're all probably wondering, how does he stay so thin? Luckily for us, he made a video addressing that.
Let me show you a crudely made graph. The crudest of crudely made graphs. I might as well have done this in crayon. So on this graph, the y-axis shows calorie intake and the x-axis shows time. So on the left, you will see a number of calories, and along the bottom of the graph, you will see days of the week. Now, I've shared this tons of times on social media, in posts, private messages. It's really nothing new. Now, the blue line shows what my calorie intake would look like if I didn't, eat like a So you'll see 3,000 calories evenly distributed over 7 days of the week. This totals 21,000 calories. Now that is slightly higher than average, but bear in mind that I'm more active than the average person, one who say drives to work in the morning, works a desk job, and then doesn't do any exercise. Now if I eat like this, it's impossible, I mean scientifically, irrefutably impossible for me to gain weight. There is no surplus of energy consumed through food, which my body can then deposit as fat or indeed muscle. The green line shows a more accurate representation of how I currently eat. Let me say at this point, I do not recommend that you eat this way. If nothing else, the huge peaks and troughs in calorie intake will affect your sleep, your mood, and of course your energy levels. But you can learn something from it and apply it to your own life at a less extreme level, especially with Christmas coming up. Of course, everyone loves to eat.
Exactly, yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I've been saying. I made almost the exact same graph in my book, Eat More and Lose Weight. Link in the description if you want to know what to prioritize in order to get the results that you want. This is perfect. So he compensates for his influx of calories by, on the off days where he's not recording, he eats a lot less calories. Now this is an extreme example. Not many people are going to be eating 10,000 calories a day. You probably won't have to go down to 1,000 calories on the off days. But the fact that it's such an extreme behavior with food, and it still works, shows you that it will work for you. A lot of people ask me questions, and I remember thinking back to when I was heavier and I didn't understand what I understand now. And I used to have this idea that the body kind of worked on a 24-hour period. Kind of like when we wake up, the day kind of resets in our mind. The body does not. The body is always going. So instead of looking at your caloric intake from a 24-hour period, try to look at it from a bigger picture, kind of like his graph shows a week. You could even look at it from a month or a year. Mr. Beard actually plans around his big meals and compensates for them in order to balance his calorie equation so that it equals out to what would maintain his calories over a week period. I've been saying this for so long, but he is the perfect example of what long-term results would yield. I highly doubt any non-competitive eater is going to be eating 10,000 calories a day, but I'm glad that it's so extreme because it shows you that this does, in fact, work. As well as consuming less calories on his non-video days, he also works out and uses that influx of calories for good use. Remember, you want your caloric equation to be balanced if you want to maintain your weight, and you want it to yield a deficit in order to lose weight. So you can use both methods in order to create this balance or deficit by controlling your caloric intake, but also controlling your expenditure. So with Thanksgiving, Christmas coming up, instead of getting frustrated and upset that there's so much resistance to your diet, maybe just plan around those big meals using Mr. Beard as an example, so you can enjoy the time with your family and have a great meal without all the stress. Thank you, Mr. Beard, for being a perfect example of this and providing much entertainment. And I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. And remember, be conscious of your calories.